Hello, everyone, and welcome to our ReaderCrate author interview for our ReaderCrate book club. So happy that you can be here. If you're new to ReaderCrate, my name's Alyssa Granlund, and I am the founder of ReaderCrate. I'm also an indie cozy mystery author. I write under the pen name of Lissa Lund. And so my heart is, I have a heart for other authors and for readers. And so that's why I put this whole thing together. So if you're not familiar with ReaderCrate, every month I send out a book crate to our readers, and in the crate is between 1, 2, or 3 books, depending on the crate that people sign up for, and then there's a little bit of swag too. And so I just thought I'd share with you quick what was in our June crate, since it just went out, and the theme was art and alibis, and everyone has a creative side and something to hide. And so that was our theme. And so it was super cute. And our featured author this month was Theresa Carter, and Peril in the Peninsula was her book. And she is going to be our interview tonight or today. So I will be bringing her on just a minute. And then we had 2 other authors as well. We had Lois Winston, Assault with a Deadly Glue Gun. We interviewed Lois last month. And Crafty Crime by Erin Scott was our other book, and Erin's interview is coming up here in a couple weeks. So some of the swag that were in the box, it was kind of an art theme box. And so I got these really cute watercolor kits that are kind of like a paint by number watercolor kit. So those were in the crate. And there were some really pretty hand embroidered napkins, along with some handmade napkin rings, which were really fun. We always try to stick in some kind of a cozy theme with our crate. And there was a little bit of jam that was sent by Erin. And then Theresa sent us some really fun cherry flavored coffee, which everybody loved and has been raving about and even asking where to get it. So that's really been fun. So, all right, I'm going to bring Theresa on now. Theresa is the author of the delightful travel murder cozy mystery series featuring a travel writer, Alex Paige. And the first book, Peril on the Peninsula, takes readers to the beautiful Door County in Wisconsin, which is my neighbor, and where a peaceful writing retreat quickly turns into murder, blackmail, betrayal, and mystery that Alex can't ignore. And what makes this series really interesting is that Theresa herself spent years as a travel writer before turning to fiction. And then she created Alex Paige. And we're going to learn more about how that came about and what made it her time to pursue her dream of writing novels. So everybody, please help me welcome Theresa. Yay.
Hello, I'm so
Hi,
happy to
Theresa.
be here.
Yeah, so glad you're here. Now, if anybody has questions at all during our live, you can certainly put them in the comments. I'll be checking that and coming back and bringing out the questions for Theresa. But all right, so I'll just get started. So getting to know you a little bit, Theresa. So for readers who are meeting you for the first time, tell us a little bit about you and your journey to become an author.
Well, I feel like most writers, most authors, I've wanted to be an author ever since I was a little girl, since I could read books that didn't have pictures in them. So, but I took the long way around, like a lot of authors do. And I first, I became a travel writer when I was in my 30s, actually. I moved to Chicago. I had a degree in journalism, didn't want to work for a paper. So I ended up writing about my new hometown and created a website called The Local Tourist, which was all about one neighborhood and then downtown and then the entire city of Chicago. And then in 2016, I started travel writing, but the Local Tourist had been my full-time job since 2008, but I always still wanted to write a book. And then finally in 2017, I was speaking at the San Diego Travel and Adventure Show, and I asked my husband about possibly driving there, for research for the website. And he said, sure, how long do you think we'll need? 3 weeks, a month. So we took 31 days and we drove the long way around. We actually drove around Death Valley on the way back. But that became my first book, which was a travel memoir. And then I wrote my second book, which was another travel memoir, but a 35-day road trip. And that was in 2017 and 2018. didn't write my third until 2021. And that was actually, it was supposed to come out in March of 2020. My launch party was scheduled for this book, March of 2020. We all know what happened then. And then that summer, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay.
So that I ended up finishing writing most and researching that book, which is all about Chicago landmarks, while I was going through chemo. But then I wanted to write novels. I remember my grandma had given me a copy of Clan of the Cave Bear. I mean, that came up in one of the Facebook groups I'm part of recently. And I was like, so many people have memories and connections to that book.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to do that for people. I wanted to be an author who could, have people using the toothpaste to hold their book open so they didn't have to close it for the day. So finally, after cancer, I finished treatment in June of 2021. And that November, I did NaNoWriMo for the first time. Alex Paige sprung out of my head, Athena-like, October 26th.
Oh,
And I didn't win NaNoWriMo, but I won because that became the beginnings of Peril on the Peninsula. So that's how and that was when I was 51 years old, was when I finally wrote my first novel.
wow. That's great. That's great. So now, how did your travel writing help you? Well, first of all, actually, let's back up a little bit. Why cozy mystery?
I was reading those voraciously, especially when I was going through treatment and with the pandemic, because the bad guy always got it.
Yeah,
Good guys always win.
yeah,
And when they were done, I mean, one, they're quick reads, they're page turners, the characters are delightful. And they're always in these towns where you want to live and you want everybody to be your neighbor except for the jerks, the bad guy who ends up getting it in the end anyway.
yeah.
So it was just, I was reading them voraciously. And originally, when I thought about writing my first novel, it was going to be an historical novel set in Chicago. And then I'm a research freak. So I was like, I'll just use that as an excuse to research. So I thought, you know what? I want to write cozy mysteries. I want people to feel the way that I do when I read them, close it and they feel like they've gotten a hug. So that's why I ended up with cozy mystery.
Okay.
Mm.
So, how did your travel writing influence the mystery writing?
Well, they always say write what you know. So that's what I did. My protagonist is a travel writer and she is a breast cancer survivor. And it's that's just like in my own life. The cancer is just part of what she went through. It's not what the book is about. The travel is what it's about. But part of it is I've been able to visit so many incredible and beautiful destinations. And this way I can highlight them and showcase them in a completely different way. And it's funny now when I'm traveling, we just did a 2-week trip to England and I was seeing places where you could find bodies everywhere. I was like, now whenever I travel, that's part of the travel. Now I
Right.
write serious travel writing piece, inspiring people to go visit. And, you know,
So you're still doing the travel writing. That's
oh
still
yes.
okay.
That's still big. I'm still a travel writer. Still have the local tourists is, I would say it's my part-time job, and maybe cozy writing is my fiction writing is my side gig. I don't like hustle.
Yeah.
But that's there, the fiction is slowly taking over.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So you mentioned that you've gotten to go to a lot of cool places. Tell us a little bit about where you've been with the travel writing. Where has it taken you?
Most of it has been US based. I mean, this trip to England was just something that we did for our birthdays. Most of it's US. I've been all over the Western, like every state in the Western, from the Midwest and West. I've also traveled all over the Midwest. Lived in the Midwest my entire life except for 4 years.
Okay.
So, I've been to the, Glacier National Park, ridden the Amtrak Empire Builder. My most recent novel is actually set on a fictional empire builder. I drove up the Pacific Coast. I've been, Scottsdale, Arizona, San Diego, Colorado Springs, which is a setting for the second novel. like I said, I've been all over the Midwest and in every state in the West as well. So the East is next.
Okay. And so your travel writing is on your website. That's where you
Yes.
do it? Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah,
Great.
primarily. I've got the 2 travel memoirs that are my first 2 books. I'm going to be writing a third in the series probably next year. But yeah, I still do my travel writing there, and I've got Substack as well where I post some of my travel articles, but it's
Okay.
mainly on the local tourist.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So tell us about Peril on the Peninsula. What should readers expect when they open that book, the first page?
Well, they're going to expect to be thrown right into the setting of Door County. They're going to know what it smells like, what it feels like. Can see the sun sparkling off Lake Michigan as she's driving along the peninsula. So that's really where I feel like my experience as a travel writer has really informed the writing, because I want readers of Peril on the Peninsula to feel like they're actually in Door County with Alex and getting to meet her. They'll discover right away that she's definitely got a mind of her own. She is kind and intelligent, and she doesn't take gruff from anybody. She's and her friend William, everybody loves William. He shows up fairly early on in the first few pages as well, and you just immediately get a sense of who this character is.
Yeah. Yeah. So why Door County?
It just popped into my head when I thought, oh, I know, I'm going to write a cozy mystery, and my protagonist is going to be a travel writer, and her name's Alex Paige, and let's do it in Door County. And I think part of that is because Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which is on the way to Door County, and Door County were my first press trips post-treatment. So after I was done with treatment and could go back out into the world and resume travel writing, I had a press trip to Door County, Wisconsin, and I'd heard a lot about Sheboygan, so I contacted them and stopped on the way up for a couple days. So that was really, and it was scary. Because I hadn't done it for, at that point, a year and a half. My profession basically disappeared during the pandemic. And then I couldn't anyway.
Yeah.
So it was a very impactful, important experience for me, and it stuck with me emotionally. And for writing my first novel, it was so much easier to access those emotions and those experiences, because I had just experienced them myself the year before. Because I started writing it. Well, no, I'd been to Door County in August of 2021, and I started writing this in November. So it was still so fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm. So have you been back to Door County?
I have. I was just actually back there in September for a little bit, and I had gone back again in 22. So I've been back a couple times.
So how much of the book is actually inspired by real places there?
This one actually, all of it is inspired by, but there aren't a lot of real places.
Okay.
I think part of it, I was hesitant to have anything. Nothing bad happens in a real place, period, in any of my books. But I was a little hesitant I didn't know what the boundaries were. How much could I say? Like, I mentioned a red and white awning. That is where you can get these huge small sundaes. And people who read it in Door County know I'm talking about Wilson's, but I didn't name Wilson's. And then there's an overlook, and it's at one of the state parks in Door County. But that overlook inspired an overlook that I put on the other side of the peninsula.
Got it.
The town is fictional. The inn, it all takes place at a place called the Mast. That's fictional, but that was actually inspired by a place that's on Lake Geneva.
Okay.
Yeah, the Abbey Resort is because it's got this big A-frame, and that's what inspired the A-frame of the Mast. So I think, as an author, you don't know what's going to inspire your writing or your vision, and it just starts coming to you. And then later on, you have a clearer picture. But that's why I always have an author note in the book as well, so that people, can say, okay, what was real, what wasn't. And
yeah, that's good. That's good. So was there a particular scene in the book that was especially fun for you to write?
any scene with William.
Okay. All right.
I mean, he's just such their voices came to I'm not writing, I'm transcribing. When those two are in the room together, I'm just typing away because they're just having the conversation in my head. It's also the sunrises. Writing Alex's view, she gets up and has her early morning coffee, which is why I wanted to have the coffee in the box. And I'm so glad people like it. That is Door County Coffee Company's cherry cream coffee, and
Yeah.
it's delicious. If you have a Woodman's available, they sell it at Woodman's, or you can order it from them online. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, those writing those sunrises was just that was fun. All of it was fun.
So, okay, well, without any spoilers, did
Mhm.
the villain reveal themselves to you early in the writing process, or did you kind of discover the mystery along the way?
Oh, the who I thought the villain was, but nope. And this has happened with every book. I know who the villain is until I get to the halfway point or a little beyond, and then oh no, they didn't do it. They did every time. And I
Mhm.
don't really. I'm more of I'm a plantser.
Yeah.
So I have tent poles. I basically know I know how it's going to end. I know who the victim is. And I think I know who the culprit is, but this even happened in the most recent book. So I'm just releasing any idea that I'm going to know who did it.
That's great. That's wonderful. So, was William based on anybody that you know?
He was inspired by a lot of different friends that I have.
Mhm.
So just he's an um kind of a combination of different friends that I have.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, since you're a travel writer, okay, so if you could spend a week in any of the destinations you've written about, where would you choose to go back?
Oh, that's easy. I go back to Sheboygan all the time. That's like my home away. Last year with Google, Google Photos will do a roundup of and they had a part that said your home, and they put Sheboygan, Wisconsin as my home. I don't live
Oh,
there.
that's funny.
But
That's funny.
it's I've got actually I've got more friends there now than I do where I'm living in Northern Illinois in the town itself. Um, but I just love it, and every time I go back I find something new, and it's when people ask me what destination has surprised me the most, it's Sheboygan. It's the surfing capital of the freshwater surfing capital of the world.
Oh,
They've got this shipwreck archive, which the sixth book in the series is set in Sheboygan because of that. But
oh,
there, I mean, other places I could um, Asheville, North Carolina, which is where the fourth book in the series is set. My parents live there.
okay.
So I have some personal connections to some of these places, but all of them, I mean, all of them I would go back to again and again and again if I could.
So, okay, so I think I know the answer, but you said that you're a researcher, that you like that.
Mhm.
And so do you always go to the place where the book is going to take place before you? Okay. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
always,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That's part of my like as a travel writer, I get invitations to write about places and or they'll just give you a press release and here, can you add this to your like I've got one campground that keeps wanting me to add them to this roundup I've got for campsites, and I'm like I haven't camped there, so I can't. And
Yeah.
that's the same thing with fiction, because my background's in travel writing and because I believe so strongly in bring that the destination is a character. The
Mhm.
setting is a character that I wouldn't feel like I could do it justice. And besides, it gives me an excuse to travel.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So let's see here. That I was thinking of another question I had. Well, what's the most like unusual place that you visited when you were doing the travel writing?
The most unusual place, um, I've got two different answers for different reasons. One is Goblin State Park in southern Utah. And there's an environment there that you can't see anywhere else. And it's but basically kind of in between Arches National Park and Bryce Canyon. So if you're going from one to the other, you can stop at Goblin. I mean, nothing is close there, but
Yeah. Okay.
but it's just this otherworldly, in the least cliched way you can imagine environment, and it's someplace that gets, even if you don't go to any of the national parks, if you can go to Goblin Valley State Park, I recommend it because
Really?
it's just amazing. And the other place was Charles City, Iowa. That was
Really?
Yes, that was actually my I think it was my first press trip that I ever took, and their public library has an art collection to rival big city museums.
Really?
And they have surfing in the middle of downtown, so you can surf. It's funny, I don't surf, and now I've mentioned it twice, but I just think it's, both in Missoula, Montana, and in Charles City, Iowa, you can surf on the river that goes through those towns.
Oh,
Um,
weird. Okay.
but their library has this collection of Monet, Manet, Degas, Dali, Rembrandt. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And it was because there was a young man who became an orphan. The town basically adopted him. This is in the late 1800s. He ended up doing well for himself, moved to New York City, ended up collecting his contemporary artists. At the time they were contemporaries. And then when he passed away, he left the art collection to the city of, Charles City. And
Hmm.
the thing is, they didn't know what to do with it. So it sat in a basement for like 50 years. And finally, a janitor in the found this self-portrait of Rembrandt, liked it, stuck it with tape on the wall next to the boiler. And you can see, when you go to see that library now, and you can see that portrait, and you can still see where the tape was.
Oh my gosh.
So that to me is one of the most unusual places I've ever been in. That and it's south of Tonopah, Nevada. It's Gold something, but they've got, how Cadillac Ranch has all the Cadillacs buried in the ground? This one is an art installation, but it's all sorts of different vehicles. And instead of just Cadillac, but it's very, another bizarre, otherworldly place. So yeah, it was.
Oh, that sounds fun. These are all fun things I want to check out. Because my husband and I are wanting to do a family trip, and we're in Minnesota, and one of our daughters is in Michigan. And so I was like, we got to find something in the middle. And so I was thinking Door County, but now I'm going to check out Sheboygan, because that would be, that'd be perfect. That'd be a great place to meet.
If you're a foodie, the food scene is incredible, and the art scene is out of this. It ticks all my boxes. It's got the
That's awesome.
outdoors, it's got
Awesome.
history, it's got great food and great art.
I'm gonna have to pick your brain on that a little more.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what's home base for you?
Huntley, Illinois. So northern Chicago area.
Okay. Okay. So you landed in Chicago and you stayed there.
Yes, I moved up here end of 2001 and been up here ever since. I lived in the city until 2014, and then ended up moving to the suburbs and keep moving further and further north and west, and pretty soon I'm going to be in Wisconsin. It seems.
So, okay, you said that when you're traveling that you see places where the body could be. Anything that you've experienced while you were traveling that later inspired one of your plots?
Actually, you froze up for just a little bit. So I heard the very beginning that I'm starting to see bodies, and then it froze.
Oh, I said, so when you've been traveling, has there ever been anything that you've experienced that later inspired one of your plots in your books?
It's happening now that when I'm going to travel something, like I said, we were just in England for 2 weeks, and now I'm like, oh, now I'm seeing stories happening. So now I want to write a collection of short stories, of Alex Paige short stories that are set in England.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So, but it's like when I was writing, or when I was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I had already started writing Alex Paige. So at that point, I did start thinking, and I knew I wanted to write a novel set in Garden of the Gods because that's such a dramatic landscape. And so that became part of Revenge in the Rockies. So it is now that once I started writing it, now when I travel, I'm seeing things. I don't actively think, I wonder if I could set a book here. I just let it happen. I just
Yeah.
explore it.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, tell us about a typical writing day for you.
I typically I wake up early. I'm a morning person, so I'm usually up around 5 a.m. and I do my little meditating and my journaling and then refill my coffee and then I'll do a writing sprint for about 30 minutes. But I wrote all of those books at 30 minutes at a time and usually just one sprint a day because I'm still travel writing. But it's how do you eat an elephant?
Right. Exactly.
And canyons are carved by one little, one drop of water at a time. So that's it. I'm now writing more. I'm doing more. I'm actually writing my memoir about my cancer, and so I'm doing like a couple writing sprints a day now. So because I want to write it, and I want to, and now I have more time and bandwidth, and have more confidence. I think after, after the first one or two, you're just so like, am I any good at this? Is anybody going to like this? And
yeah, I know. So what about how long does it take for you to write a book then if you're doing it 30 minutes at a time? How long does it take?
Generally it takes me about 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
And so I was releasing 2 a year, and except for the last one because I started doing some ghost writing and that kind of took over last year, but so it generally takes me about 2 to 3 months to do the actual writing. Their cozy mysteries are, they're fairly short. They're generally, 50,000 words, maybe up to even 60. Mine are around the 45,000 word mark, so I can get those done pretty quickly. It's when all of a sudden, the murderer changes, and then you have to go back and edit stuff.
Yeah. I've got one of those happening right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite snack while you're writing?
Well, it's early in the morning, so I don't usually have snacks. But if I'm doing a weekend, well, it's changed because a couple of years ago, I found out I was diabetic. So I was like, nope, can't be living on chips. I used to be like potato chips and French onion dip. Oh, anything salty. And yeah, like I love dips. Now it's usually like popcorn.
So, well, what's the destination that's still on your bucket list for travel?
All of them.
Okay.
That's what those people say, what's your favorite place of, or if you could only go one place, I just everywhere. Even I want to get to the northeast of the US. I have not been there yet. I want to get to. So there's still so much of the US I want to see, and I want to go everywhere else.
Yeah.
And
How about if you were to pick another country?
I want to go to Ireland and Scotland. We just went to England, although we barely scratched the surface. But I'm starting to really get into heritage travel, and my ancestry, if you can't tell, is from that part of the world. So that's part of. We went to England because my husband is also has DNA from that part of the world. So we'd love to go to Scotland and Ireland. And then I want to go all over Europe and all over Central and South America. And I've got an architectural thriller series I want to write. It's one of the couple of the characters from my Alex Paige series are going to get their own series, but they're going to be architectural or archaeological thrillers. And of course, that means I have to go to Central and South America.
Well, for sure.
Oh.
You got to go check all that out.
Right.
Well, what's next for Alex Paige?
She's I don't want it to give away too much. I did say I want to write the collection of short stories that are set in England. And I'm debating on the destinations for the next couple books. One is probably going to be at Indiana Dunes National Park.
Oh, okay.
She's based in Chicago, right, which you know. Yeah. And another is I've got ideas for a story that's based in the San Diego area. There's a magnificent sculpture garden that was created by Dickie de Saint Fall. I think that's how you pronounce it. And last time I was there, I was just like, oh, okay, I can see this happen. So I'm I just did 2 omnibus for the volumes 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, or they're now in an omnibus each. So I have to write 2 more so that I can have the next trilogy.
Exactly.
That hopefully but I'm writing the memoir now, so I probably won't have another Alex Paige book out until beginning of 27. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, so if readers enjoyed your Peril on the Peninsula series, where should they go next?
They definitely want to go to Revenge in the Rockies. That's the next book in the series. These can be read as standalone, except for the 6th book. There are spoilers. But it's more fun because there are character arcs, and it's just a lot more fun to follow them and to see which characters, because she's a travel writer, it doesn't happen in the same place each time. So that means it's not all the same characters. So they come in and out. So it's more fun to read them in order. But Revenge in the Rockies is the 2nd one, and that's in Colorado Springs. And
okay. All right, great. And then what about, is there another series that you have that we should direct people to too?
Nonfiction. I do have nonfiction books. They're all at theresasbooks.com, which is THERESA.
Nice.
So I have my Planning Your Perfect Road Trip. I've got a couple anthologies, Midwest Road Trip Adventures and Midwest State Park Adventures. My Chicago Landmarks book is Living Landmarks of Chicago, and that book got me invited to speak at the Mensa annual gathering last year. That's the one I wrote most of when I was going through chemo, so it's got a real place in my heart.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yay, well, thanks for sharing that. Well, before we wrap up, where can readers find you online? Theresasbooks.com, but where else would be a good place for them to connect with you to kind of hear about your latest books and your travel and your upcoming releases? And
well, if they go to Substack, I've got teresastoryteller.substack.com. I'm also on social media at Theresa Storyteller and The Local Tourist, and then thelocaltourist.com is where the majority of my travel writing is.
Okay. And then do you have a newsletter that people can sign up for too? Or?
I do. That's the teresastoryteller.substack.com. And then, and if they want the travel writing alone, then that's on The Local Tourist. There's a newsletter there too.
All right. Well, everybody
do a lot of writing.
Yes, you do. You've got your fingers in a lot of different pots. That's really cool. Well, everybody be sure to follow Theresa and check out the rest of the mysteries. And let's see here. Trying to think. Oh, before we go, I do also want to let everybody know about the July crate that's coming up. We sold out June's crate, and now, so I've got a few extra for July, just, so that we can handle a little bit more growth if we have it. So July's theme is Pucker Up Buttercup, and it's zesty kind of twist hiding in plain sight. It's all lemon and, lemon flavored and stuff like that. I've got some really fun swag for that one. Of course, some great mysteries. And hopefully you can join us. If you're interested in that, go to ReaderCrate.com. I will also post this interview on our ReaderCrate website, and it'll be on our YouTube channel too if you want to go back and get any of Theresa's travel tips, which were kind of fun. I know I'm going to be checking that out. And that's about it. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and thank you so much, Theresa, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this. It was wonderful, and I'm so glad that everybody enjoyed the coffee. It's so good.
And your book was great too.
Well, and that too. Yes.
Yeah, I really love the cover. It's really
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, nice job. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.